To be a good lead guitar player, we really do need to be a good rhythm player also. But the magic really happens when we combine lead and rhythm together. For these examples today, we're going to use the D, D chord, C, and the G. But this concept, this exercise will work in any key. Let me bring you in close for a super slow, detailed breakdown. A big part of this style of playing is knowing where the root note is for each chord. So for the D chord, the 5th fret of the A string, D note, and then the C note, 3rd fret of the A string. Then the 3rd fret of the E string is the G note for the G chord. Now we can create a groove, just kind of build a foundation so we can get this exercise under our fingers. So one way to create the groove is to hit the root note, play the chord, and then hit the root note twice and play the chord, like this. That kind of repeating thing. Kind of recreating what a bass player would do, but when you're just sitting around to grab your guitar, you want to be able to play and have fun. So for me to create this groove, the right hand is important here. I'd like to just know that the pulse is here in my right hand. This does take some practice. Muting, I always rest my palm lightly on the just right around the bridge area here for comfort. For one thing, it gives you a lot of stability, but you can really mute these strings and do some muting with your left hand also. But in almost any style of playing, you have to have a level of muting. Again, to be a good lead guitar player, you need to have that rhythm. You need to have that right hand rhythm movement. Stay with me because this exercise will transform your guitar playing. If you're getting something from the lesson, hit that like button. I really do appreciate your support. So now that we have that groove in our head, we want to be able to create some movement around those chords. So the next thing we want to do to start creating some movement here is go from the root note of each chord. So we got the D chord, root note in the 5th fret. We slide from 7 to 9 is the major third. 4 frets up from any major root note of a chord is a major third of that chord, which is an F sharp. Now I'll get to some triads real shortly here. The C chord, root notes in the 3rd fret, we just slide from 5 to 7 on the A string. And then the G root note is on the 3rd fret of the E string. We slide from 5 to 7. So D, slide up to 9. C, slide up to 7. G, slide up to 7. So you want to practice that. You can hear that it fits the chord. So now we want to take it a step farther. Let's add the simple triad to each chord. The first triad I want to show you is really just a piece of the chord that you're already playing. You got the D chord here. The 3 notes that make up the chord are right there, these 3 notes. C, G. So now if we take that little slide move we just did, and back to D. It was a happy day when I started using this in my playing. It just helps you maneuver around the chords, and really, even when you're playing rhythm, you're actually saying something as you play around. Just that alone is a great sound, and just it really helps you create movement around those chords. So if you put that in the groove, now we're getting a pulse going here. So the next triad I want to show you, and this is not going to get real complicated. We're just going up here, the notes of the D up here in the 12, 11, and 10 make up a D chord also. Same with the C. So those two triads, if we add that, really just adding two of those notes, but knowing that that triad is right here. It's actually part of a D chord when you slide up like that. A great way to practice this is just hitting the piece of the chord here and sliding up. So you're just borrowing those three notes here in the 7th fret, sliding up to 11 and 10, and then borrowing in the 5th fret, sliding up to 9, 8. It's just a piece of the C chord. Now, if we connect all of these elements, each one by themselves is fairly simple, but connecting them with some rhythm is not that easy. But I know you can do this. We took it one step at a time, and if you learn it that way, you will get this under your fingers and use this all the time. So one more movement is hitting the D, slide up, 9th fret, use the triad, and then hammer on and off on the 9th fret back to 7. So it's just really a double stop. You're barring, really focusing on the two strings here on the 7th fret, the A note and the D note here in the 7th fret, playing them together, and then hammering on to 9 on the D string. See how all those elements really connect together? They all sound good. It's a really sweet major sound in this style. So we really want to work on the rhythm of this right hand with some muting. That slide up to the major third to the part of the chord here, the triad. And then that other higher triad sound. You can do the G up here even. So that's the same thing. You have the G chord here, just like these two bar chords. Got the root note here in the 10th fret of the A string. If you slide up if you slide up from 12 to 14, you have that major third again, that B note. You can do that with any major chord. Then hitting the triad, sliding up to a piece of this triad. So again, we have this triad. And we have this triad of the G major. But if we use those elements that we learned earlier, we can do that with any major chord like that. I'm telling you right now, this exercise will transform your playing. It helps you with your rhythm, helps you really create movement around the chords that you use all the time. You just don't want to play you want to have that bouncy groove. You want to create just simple lead lines around each chord. And once you start doing what we learned today, you're going to expand this all over the neck. I promise you, you'll love it. You'll just have a lot more fun with the guitar. Again, I had fun hanging out with you today. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you soon.